From being stuck to working on a flaw or finding our passion, we all have problems we want to fix in our own lives. And because of that, self-help and the gurus themselves continue to thrive as they put out video after video, course after course, and article after article outlining how to make that happen. But how often do those actually work? In my personal experience, the best strategies are ones that are common but require a slight adjustment to your thinking to really make them work. It's different from a lot of the typical self-help guru stuff because I know firsthand that their straightforward method just doesn't always work. And with this being a new year, I wanted to take some time to talk about the strategies that can make our resolutions and goals far more achievable this year. And I hope to do that with a system that allows us to do this one simple thing that I've already spoiled in the title of this video. Consistently improve.
Even further beyond!
Copy these or make some adjustments of your own however you see fit. The strategies that I'll be talking about today are what have helped me grow year after year and will continue to do so into this year. And so I have no doubt that if you apply these in any capacity, these will improve your own life as well. Probably the most uncommon strategy, but no less powerful, is the Kaizen method. It actually has some American origins before it was widely embraced by the Japanese car manufacturers, who in turn broke into the American auto market with vastly superior cars than American manufacturers at the time. Regardless of its origins, Kaizen is a very effective and clearly potent strategy that has everyday applications. The premise of it is a very simple one. Work proactively to achieve regular incremental improvements.
That's right, boys. Mondo cool.
In other words, it's the overall concept of consistent improvement, but within all of that, there are several layers that we can all take from that. On a philosophical level, it's reforming your own belief of what improvement looks like and defining it to suit your own life. This is crucial as a lot of us believe consistency means daily, and that thought process is certainly emphasized by a lot of self-help gurus in the industry. And while that can be true in certain cases, consistency is far more malleable than that.
That's nice.
It could be once per week, 3 times a day, or even every hour depending on what it is that you're trying to do. And recognizing that can help you with just changing your overall attitude on what growth actually looks like in your own life. On a more practical level, it's more looking at one area of your own life and determining what you can do to improve in that area of your life and taking action to make that happen. But this also works on a behavioral level as well, with respect to how you see your own work and your own life and what you've actually achieved through it. A good example of this is just looking at my own stubbornness and persistence in various projects that I put myself into. Because regardless of whether it flops or if it doesn't perform as well or even succeeds, I remind myself of Kaizen and that even the slight improvements from all of the bad outcomes or not as great outcomes is still a slight improvement from where I was before. And most importantly, the action that I took is better than the action I didn't take or did nothing about. Kaizen is that building block and an overall frame of mind that'll ensure you'll take action, and embracing that will only be to your own benefit. And the next set of actions that I recommend will only complement this overall concept. Unlike a lot of other entrepreneurs, I don't embrace the grind and work 80 or 100-hour work weeks. Part of the reason has to do with my working style, as I tell myself to work until I've completed a reasonable amount of work. But the other is the fact that I highly value my resting time, and I make a point of doing a good amount of that. No doubt I'll be far more busy this year as I have more projects in mind and thus more work. and I still want to be improving myself in particular areas on top of all of that, I'm still giving myself some time to rest and take a break. We're not autonomous beings who are able to constantly run day after day for hours and hours without end. And thinking that we can always hustle or constantly grind ourselves to success and wealth and glory will only lead us to just more burnout or overlooking details or making more mistakes or becoming just workaholics where our entire personality and identity is just work.
Work.
And I don't think that is the best way to be living our lives. How you rest is really up to you, and it's based off of your own needs and what you want to achieve out of your own life. But reminding yourself to take breaks and incorporating that into your overall work ethic and life will be just a safeguard to overexerting yourself and avoiding burnout. Beyond that, it also leads to more time to better recognize yourself, which is, I think, a crucial part to our own growth. Journaling has always been a go-to suggestion for a lot of self-help gurus, and it's easy to see why. It's a very calming practice, and it's an activity that just recenters you. But we can go one step further with it by incorporating more self-reflective elements and just being more self-reflective. I believe one of the biggest tools to growing consistently is knowing who you are and what you're about. If you don't know that, it's harder to tell whether something is the right fit for you or whether you like something or not. It's a big deal, especially since a lot of self-help gurus push us to take action all the time and not really think about what we're actually doing or who we're trying to become. There's nothing wrong with the hustle and taking action kind of stance, but it's important to pause and wonder whether this is actually something that you want to do and whether you're content with this being part of your life. Self-reflection helps with this alongside its brother meditation, as it gets you to partake in self-discovery, all of which is amplified by just taking breaks and resting. Specifically with self-reflection, getting to ask yourself questions and essentially interview yourself and analyze your own thoughts can help you to piece together whether this is something you actually value and like about yourself or whether you need to make a change. This is the strategy that I've used to overcome my own anxiety over talking to people, and what I continue to use to look at my own life and change who I am. It's a foundational skill that ensures you keep on growing and finding new things about yourself to fall in love with and appreciate.
I am the hype!
And most importantly, it helps you to stay true to who you are and want to be, as self-help gurus have a tendency to just hijack our desires and assume we all want big houses and a fleet of big boats. Some of us just want to live an average looking life and travel a little bit. In a similar vein to self-reflection, setting goals and continuing to refine them also works wonders. Goals at the core are meant to be challenging us, but they also should be pushing our boundaries as people. This is why New Year's resolutions can feel rather empty, or why people really struggle to commit to them in the first place, because they really do push our boundaries and people can't really see that, or they struggle with dealing with that. Goals demand that you seek out new perspectives, new people, new experiences, and acquire new skills for yourself. They change people. So by setting some specific goals for yourself, especially right now as this is the start of a new year, it is a good way to start that process for yourself. I've also got a video that can further refine those goals that you might want to be checking out too. But another crucial step is going one step beyond what I just outlined in that video and what I've already said, and continuing to refine those goals as you work through them. The idea isn't to move the goalpost further and further away, or closer for that matter, but to adapt to what it is that you're learning and facing right before you. After all, our path to achieving a particular outcome isn't so straightforward as you make it out to be, so being flexible is really just better for you. especially in the case where it's something new and unfamiliar and you're not certain whether you will want to be like that or like it. For example, while a lot of people think the ideal form of peak physical male fitness is having bulging muscles and six-pack abs, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to be slimmer or losing weight or just having enough endurance to run a 5K marathon. All of those things are still challenging in their own way depending on who you are, but those desires are still acceptable and there isn't some kind of hierarchy of what is better and what is worse for people. You want to be looking at what you want to achieve rather than following what other people's takes are for what you should be doing with your own life. And setting goals and continuing to refine them as you go along, reflect on them, will give you just more agency and direction in your life than just following whatever some random person tells you. While self-help is an individual focus, it does pay to lean into the more collective side more often these days.
And engage in jolly cooperation.
I know from my own personal experiences that trying to get everything done yourself is a lonely and difficult path that can often take a much longer time to get things done than if you asked for help. The purest form of leaning onto others is taking some time away and engaging with those around you and within your own community. For some people, it's a great way to draw inspiration and connection with other people, but more broadly, it can affect people's behaviors in so many different ways that will only improve your own life. For example, engaging with a community of people who are actively working on improving themselves will in turn inspire you to improve yourself and to do those things that I've been talking about. All of that can get further amplified when you start engaging with people and figuring out how to help one another and asking questions. One of the simplest ways to change your own mindset and attitude simply just comes from changing your own environment. And so by doing that, it's actually one of the most radical ways of changing and growing yourself that we should honestly be doing more of. And a more concentrated example of your environment affecting you is singling out an individual and asking them to be your own coach or accountability partner. How you want that relationship to function is really up to you, but this can ensure more consistency in your own life. Accountability partners ultimately are people who care about you and have a vested interest in your success and your progress.
Let me see what you have! No!
And being part of that journey and offering their own insights can help you look at problems from very different angles and come up with different ideas to approach it that you haven't even thought about. And if that person has the same kind of goals that you have, they would be a more suitable coach than I am right now in this video with my broad advice, as they will be able to get more nuance and context about your own struggles and what you're doing to address them. They'll be able to give you more targeted advice that will go far beyond what this video can actually provide you. Of course, this overall system is not perfect. It has plenty of flaws in it, but that's really just part of the process here. Growth is not an effortless thing that just happens to you whenever you make certain decisions. It requires effort to some degree. It requires habits and building on those habits on a regular basis. It takes motivation to fuel all of that too. The key is determining what consistency means to you and what it looks like in your own life and working to make that happen. Daily habits are great, but they're not always sustainable for people or realistic in their lives. And coveting them can be more of a distraction than what you should be doing right now. As Kaizen suggests, if you can manage to do a habit once every 2 days, that's better than being frustrated that you can't do the habit daily and stopping it altogether. So keep these activities in mind. Embrace Kaizen, as that is a good starting point. But doing all of these extra things that I've been talking about can make a real difference in your overall growth and improvement and refinement of that strategy. I've seen this in my own life, as year after year I have grown more and more hopeful about my own life, about my work, and my determination to improve my own life and change it for the better. And I have already been seeing some of those results in just how I approach things today than I did at the very start of this very long and arduous journey. And I know I'll be getting to the point where I want to be, where I will feel satisfied with my own life. And I feel like by embracing these particular concepts and applying these strategies in your own life, I have no doubt that you will eventually get there too. Thank you guys so much for watching the entirety of this video. Don't forget to go and leave a like on this video and also to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I love you guys.